I'd written an op-ed about it sure is difficult to die in a culture that believes that everything happens for a reason. When you're drowning in other people's reasons, it's harder then to feel the love of God, the love of other people. And instead I thought of other people saying, there are some things for which there can be no answer except to love you. I got a lot of Gary from Indiana, surely God is just to let you die. So I wondered, since this is your area, the Bible that is, what are some of the least comforting uses of Scripture about suffering, do you think?
Well, yeah, I ran into this when the pandemic began. So early 2020, and I don't know how much this backstory you know, but I had a call from one of the editors on Time magazine who I've worked with before, and she said, just wonder if you could say, is there a Christian answer to this, and say it in 700 words. And I thought, well...
To the plague. 700 words.
Quite.
Yes.
Well, that's all you get, a little column in Time.
It's 3 paragraphs.
Quite, well, less than that. But, and I thought, I did not want to get into this. This was, I'm not a kind of interpreter of current events like that. But I was at the same time being asked to do Zoom calls with people for churches that I've known, saying, can you just talk us through this and that? So, I'll write something. So I basically said, there is no good Christian answer for this except lament. As I said, the Bible gives us plenty of lament. We lose that because half the churches these days don't sing the Psalms, and the Psalms give us the laments. And the point about lament is that we're not telling God what he ought to be doing, and we're not telling one another what God is doing. We're saying, hey, what's going on? This is not the way it should be. Do something. So Psalm 44, Psalm 88, etc. These are hugely important. And I noticed that Paul is referring to Psalm 44, one of the classic laments, in Romans 8, when he talks about the groaning of all creation and us groaning and the Spirit groaning within us and God knowing, etc. He's got Psalm 44 in mind throughout the whole thing. And I got all sorts of, not exactly hate mail, but doesn't NT Wright read his Bible anymore kind of mail, because people were saying, read the prophet Amos. If evil happens to a country, it's because they have done this and this and this. And so isn't it obvious that the pandemic has happened because, and then you kind of rattle off a list of the things that you were probably preaching against anyway. It's because those people have been doing these bad things. And so that seems to me classically the wrong use of the Bible, because take the Bible as a whole, and yes, if you do crazy, stupid things, bad things may happen, and don't then blame God as though it's random, but read the book of Job, for goodness sake, and read those Psalms of Lament. There are many, many times when, as with Jesus in Gethsemane, or on the cross, my God, why did you abandon me? And if we're not prepared to face that apparent randomness, then we're not actually being faithful to Scripture itself.